Game Night is presented by Power Business Technology, your locally owned and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Contact them at 844-POWER-BZ or visit them at powercopiers.com. Here's your host, Scott Marsh, alongside the high flyer, Henry Turner.
And a very pleasant good evening to you. Welcome inside Golden One Center. It's game night right here. Sactown Sports, 1140. Scott Marsh along with the high flyer, Henry Turner. If you're coming to the game tonight, a little rain outside, take it easy. We've got you covered until 6:30. We'll get you ready for Kings Live pregame. Tip tonight, Kings and Hornets, 7 o'clock. First of 4 straight inside Golden One Center to kick off 2024 for the Kings. High flyer, first of all, Happy New Year to you, my friend.
Back at you, Scooter.
Hope you had a very good one.
You know what? I'm still here, bro.
Hey, that's the best type of New Year, right?
Hey, I'm still here. I got a chance to walk in the building in 24. I'm good.
Life is good, and it's good for the Kings right now, too. Obviously, that 3-game road trip, it started off a little slow, to say the least, up in Portland. They got blown out by the Blazers. That first quarter in Atlanta, let's be honest, it was horrible. They got down 31-8, but then they were able to right that ship, go ahead and get the win in Atlanta, and then they finish off like gangbusters on New Year's Eve against Memphis. Maybe their best game of the year. Mike Brown had some post-game comments. We'll get into that in the next hour, but certainly it was an impressive way for the Kings to finish off 2023 with that victory.
You know what? I'm with you. I mean, you know, I'm starting to take games, Scott, in little bitty chunks now. You know, because usually I'm preaching game by game, game by game. I'm still with that mantra, but with this team right now, I'm starting to take them in chunks. Because remember how last year I was riding the bandwagon of you can't lose 3 in a row.
Yes, that was your mantra.
You can't lose 3 in a row.
Yep.
Right now, I'm playing more so the odds because, you know, Mike Brown really wants this team to be dominant here, and they've done that. And they want to at least play 500 on the road, and they've been able to do that. Now, they've had some clunkers. It hasn't been all smooth sailing. They've had some bad games in there, but overall, they're playing better basketball than bad basketball on the road.
Yeah.
You know, if you can go 50% on the road, you've done your job.
You can't argue with that record whatsoever. And we talked about the home court, learning how to defend that. So important for any team that's going to continue to rise in the NBA. And the Kings have certainly done that. And they're going to get a great chance to improve upon this on this homestand, as it's Charlotte tonight. They get Orlando tomorrow night, who is playing tonight at Golden State. The Raptors, who just made a trade, come in on Friday, and then you finish off with the Pelicans. And for the Kings, they're 19-12 overall, 11-5 at home.
Mm-hmm.
Can't argue with that mark at all.
That's good. And you know, Scott, these games coming up, these next 4 games, I'm not going to say, you know, these are gimme games for the Kings. I'm going to say you're on your home floor. You need to still be dominant.
Yep. And I think, you know, as we look at chunks, and I like that being our mantra, if you get 3 or 4 at home, excellent homestand.
Excellent homestand. You know, don't care how it goes, even though, you know, I still got a bad taste in my mouth about the losses in New Orleans. But at the end of the day, I'm like,
you haven't let go of those Houston trips yet for 2024 yet either.
Ooh, I ain't let go of the Houston.
No.
The Houston, I think the Houston one's going to stick to me all the way through the playoffs.
That might stay until like 2050.
Yeah. That one's going to stay for a while. It's just got some staying power.
Yeah. Sam Farber, the outstanding voice of the Charlotte Hornets, he'll join us in the hour as well. We'll get caught up on Charlotte. And let's face it, Charlotte's a team struggling mightily, to say the least. They've lost 11 straight. They played yesterday in Denver. They got blown out in the Mile High City. They now have the league's longest losing streak because Detroit has ended their 28-game slide. They won't have a lot of their best players playing tonight. Having said all of that, we know what that all means for the Kings. They have to still win it on the court.
It means nothing. You playing against Charlotte. You come out and you play the exact same way if you was playing Boston, Milwaukee, Golden State, or whoever else. You know, the way you play at home should be a staple, Scott. I don't care who it is that you're lining up against. It should be a staple. You come here and you play dominant on your home floor.
Game night is always being brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Stockton. Check out their full line of luxury vehicles at mdofstockton.com. Obviously, on the road, there was a change to the starting lineup for the New Year's Eve game in Memphis. Chris Duarte inserted for Kevin Herter. Getting rewarded for that good defensive effort against Atlanta in the second half. We know Herter's been struggling. Duarte was excellent defensively again against Memphis, took on the primary responsibility of guarding John Morant, did a pretty good job.
Came in and did something that, this team needed, to be a lockdown defender. And I'm not saying he locked John Morant down because Josh still scored the basketball, but it makes it tough on him.
Yeah.
He doesn't get anything easy. He doesn't get it going. That's what we mean by being a lockdown defender. This is the NBA. Guys are too good. They're going to score the basketball. You want to make it tough on them. You want to hold them under their average. John Morant was averaging 25
26
plus?
points a game, yep.
Right. The Sacramento Kings held him under 20. So that's what you want to do when you come off the bench and be asked to do something that pretty much everybody else on the team don't do.
Yeah, no doubt. Duarte was very effective. And to your point, John Morant had 17 in that game against the Kings.
Right.
He was only 4 of 12 from the floor.
Right.
So he did an excellent job. And Mike Brown making the point in the pregame presser that just wrapped up too. It's the auxiliary effect of it. So not only is Duarte doing a nice job on John Morant, but it's not De'Aaron Fox who's chasing around John Morant any longer. Not that Fox hasn't been fourth quarter Fox, because he certainly has all year long, but he was special again in Atlanta, in Memphis, and maybe a little bit more freer to do what he wants to do without having to track down a Trae Young late in the game or a John Morant late in the game.
And that's the cool thing that these two players are bringing. And I'm going to throw Keegan Murray in there also, because Keegan has pretty much gotten the call for every big-time score the Sacramento Kings faces. So when Duarte is out there, there's another guy to where, you can basically, and I know we've been, comparing De'Aaron Fox to Steph Curry quite often on the offensive side, but I'm going to compare him more so on the defensive side. When you have two lockdown defenders, yes, you could put De'Aaron in the float mode for the third option guy, to where, he's not putting that much energy on the defensive end, because he's got to give it on the offensive side. This is a team type game, man. I mean, and that's the way it is. You have your defensive guys and you have your offensive guys.
Yeah, Fox currently fifth in the league in scoring, averaging over 30 points a game, having an MVP caliber season. No question about that. Overall, what did you think of the move with Herter going to the bench? And you think this is something we're going to see for the long term here?
I don't know about long term, but I know that, at this particular point, Mike is still searching. He's still searching. He's searching for consistency, Scott.
Yeah.
He's searching for somebody who's going to come out and consistently do what he asked them to do. Now, did Herter get put to the bench because he wasn't scoring, or did he get put to the bench because he wasn't getting it done on the defensive side? You can pick your poison, whichever one.
But I think we know the answer to that one.
But at the end of the day,
I mean, it's more defensive oriented than offensive, right?
You know what? I think it's more offensive.
You do? Okay.
Because our defense is what it is, Scott. I mean, come on now. Let's keep it 100. When this team shoots 50% from two and high 40s from three, we're not talking about defense, because they're winning.
True. But don't you feel like if Duarte hadn't gotten injured late in preseason, that he might have been the starter at the beginning of the year anyways?
I don't know, because when Duarte did come back, his offensive game was in the trash.
True.
And you needed somebody to score.
Yeah.
Well, right now, when you look at what's going on out there on the floor, Kevin Herter's jump shot hasn't been exactly where it was last year. So, okay, we know what the defense is. Defense is C.
Yep.
But if you're not giving at least the B effort, because I think the Portland game showed our organization, whoa, wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Both of our guys, number one, number two, showed up for that Portland game, and nobody else showed up, and we didn't win. So in order for us to win, and we're not even talking about defense, we're talking about strictly offense.
Yeah.
Both of our guys showed up. We couldn't win. We need more consistency on the offensive end so we can even at least be in the point of trying to win a game.
Okay. Now the Kings won by 29, 130. Let's get that. It's 123-92 in Memphis. In the post game, Mike Brown was talking defense. His quote was, "I tell you what, it's probably the best defensive performance that we've had since I've been here from start to finish."
Wow.
It was really, really fun to watch.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he got a chance to see. I mean, because Duarte did. I mean, he played very, very good defense, Keegan did what he had to do. Davion Mitchell came in and played decent, and these are defensive-minded guys. So I'm pretty sure Mike did like the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, no, he was happy with it. And how could you not be? The Kings played incredibly against the Memphis Grizzlies, a team that had been hot with Ja back.
And you know what, Scott? And let's throw another guy in there, because I honestly think he's the unsung hero of this defensive presence out there, and he gets no love. Alex Lynn came in and gave the Kings a lot on the defensive end. It don't show up in the box scores, but making the right rotations, trying to make block shots, making guys change their shots, he was a big part of that.
Well, I'll tell you what does show up. He played 12 minutes, but he had 9 rebounds, 4 offensive rebounds.
Right. Things like I said, and change your shot.
Yeah. And how about there was a Davion Mitchell sighting the last couple of games as well. And not only did Davion play great defense, but he found his shot. He was 4-4 against the Grizz.
He's being more aggressive. I think he's in a situation to where he's taking the mindset of, I have nothing to lose. Mm-hmm. I have nothing to lose. Yeah. So let me go out here and just do what I know how to do, and that's play ball. Don't worry about if the shot don't drop. Because, Scott, a lot of times as a basketball player, you get so mindful of when the ball comes to you, the first thing you're thinking about is, oh, my God, don't miss the shot, don't miss the shot, don't miss the shot. You can't play like that. Your mindset has to be, is this a good shot? I'm going to take it. If this is a good shot, I'm going to take it. If it's a bad shot, swing the ball.
Yeah.
Those are the only two things that need to be going on in your mind.
No doubt. And Trey Lyles seems to be finding his groove, too. Back-to-back double-digit games.
You know what? We talked about that early on. Trey has always been our X factor since he got put in the lineup. Since he's been playing major minutes, Trey is a big time. Trey is right up under Monk, if you ask me. Because, I know Monk gives you the big time scoring, but what Trey gives you is the mismatch. Whenever they have a big guy out there that you need to stretch that floor and get that big guy out, he has to guard Trey, and that's not going to happen.
No doubt. And you know what? We've been on the air for 13 minutes, and we probably overlooked the biggest stat line of that game, another triple-double for Sabonis, 21 rebounds to go along with 13 points and 12 assists.
Man, he had, at least 15 by halftime?
Yeah, easily.
And it has to be one of these things, too, Scott, to where we really take this guy for granted because he does it so effortlessly to where it really don't stand out. I mean, I knew he had 15 rebounds and we was tracking him like this dude grabbing everything come off the rim. My God, how many rebounds he got? And next thing you know, I look up, I'm like, he got 15 rebounds?
Yeah.
But he does it, just so much in the flow of the game, it really don't look that big. And like I said, we take him for granted big time.
We do, and now he's tied for the league lead in rebounding with Anthony Davis.
Getting the job done, bro.
He is getting the job done. All right.
Job done.
Our coverage of Mike Brown's pregame press conference brought to you by Folsom Lake Honda. Folsom Lake Honda, your one-stop Honda shop. The other thing that was so impressive in that game as well, the rebounding edge, as we mentioned, with Sabonis with 21. The Kings out-rebounded the Grizz 59-34. They also had a 58-32 advantage in points in the paint.
That's the stat that I like. Because you know what that tells me, Scott? They just didn't elect to come down and yank up threes. They found other ways how to score the basketball, whether it was in transition, whether it was getting steals, getting out on fast breaks, whether it was just breaking guys down, getting to the rim, or utilizing Sabonis down low. Whenever the Kings can have a good presence in the paint, they're going to win that game because we know they're going to shoot the three.
Yeah, blowout city, a great way to finish 2023. Now it's all about the new year. It's the Kings in Charlotte. Our look at those points in the paint, as always, brought to you by RT Painting, your reliable and trusted painter in the Sacramento market since 1998. When we come back, we'll focus in on Charlotte tonight's opponent, Sam Farber, their outstanding radio play-by-play voice will join us. He'll let us know who's playing tonight for the Hornets because their roster is pretty depleted right now.
Wow.
A team that is struggling big time. They've lost 11 straight on the second night of a back-to-back, and on the fifth game of a 6-game road trip. That and a lot more coming your way. It is game night coming to you live from the Golden One Center right here on Sactown Sports 1140.
On the move? Got somewhere to be?
Take Sacramento Kings basketball with you. The Sactown Sports app will let you stay connected to your passion. Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with the Sactown Sports app. The NFL's leading rusher plays here.
The handoff to McCaffrey, walks in the end zone. Handoff to McCaffrey, takes it right down to the goal line. He does his thing again. McCaffrey goes in motion right. Backwards pass led by Juszczyk. A block there. Hurdles a man. 10-5. Touchdown! CMC!
You can hear all of Christian McCaffrey's touchdowns on your home for 49ers football. Sactown Sports.
Kevin Lewis with National Garage Door, reminding you that in Sacramento, National Garage Door is the king of garage doors. We service, sell, and install garage doors and openers. Call us today for your basketball special. A new 16x7 Rainer garage door with insulation and a belt drive opener for only $24.49 installed. Give us a call today, 916-638-4554.
638-4554 National Garage Door.
Power Business Technology is proud to be 100% independent, locally owned, and managed Toshiba copier dealer. Local ownership cuts out the red tape, allowing ourselves to never be too busy to personally answer the call when our clients need us. Recognized for excellence in service execution, training, and customer service, we're proud to be named a 2022 Toshiba ProMasters Elite Dealer. Contact us today for all of your business printing needs at 844-POWER-BZ. That's 844-769-3729 or visit us at powercopiers.com.
As we come together to celebrate the end of this long year, Stockton Honda has savings to bring us all cheer. Happy Honda Day savings and selection galore. Stockton Honda's online express purchase and great people give you more.
Save on 400 new Hondas at Stockton Honda during Happy Honda Days. Shop in person or online with our express purchase option.
Anytime, anywhere, it's all here. StocktonHonda.com.
Here we are back on. It is game night coming to you live from the Golden One Center. Scott Marshall on with the High Flyer Henry Turner. Hoping everybody had a very happy new year. Again, if you're coming to the game tonight, take your time. It's raining outside. We've got you covered here until 6:30. Jason Ross will be here for Kings Live pregame. High Flyer will stay. G-Man will join. He'll have the call tonight at 7 o'clock. Kings and Hornets. Sacramento first of 4 here in the capital city. For the Hornets, it's the 5th game of a 6-game road trip. It's been a tough sled so far to finish out the year. 4 straight losses on the road, 11 overall. I don't know if that's a great lead-in to bring in Seth Farmer. It is a pleasure and a privilege to talk to you, my friend.
Oh, man, you're still stealing my line. I love it. I love it.
You know what?
With you guys.
What is it? Imitation is the best form of flattery.
That's right. Well, there was
outright stealings even more so.
Well, sidebar, great story, because lost 11 in a row. So we'll go to some other stuff. The late great Tony Bennett passed away, and there's so many great tributes, and one was from Michael Bublé, and he told this story about meeting Tony Bennett, saying, "Oh, I loved all your work. I copied everything you did," and Tony said something to the effect, or the way he told the story was, if you take from one person, it's stealing, but if you take from everybody, it's research. So I get to tell that story now. I'll call it research.
As Tony Bennett's attorney filed a lawsuit. Right. All right, let's break this down. Obviously, it's been a tough 2023 for the Hornets on the court. Lots of injuries. LaMelo Ball's been out. The record isn't where the team wants. Just give us an assessment, maybe give us some more context coming into 2024 and tonight.
Well, I think that's really what it is. It's injuries at this point. I think Charlotte and Sacramento a couple of years ago are probably in similar positions. The difference is Sacramento had its guys. And so, when they were able to display on the floor just how good Tyrese Halliburton was, how good Fox was, how good all these pieces were, they were eventually able to make some moves and get the right pieces together to put together the kind of roster that they have now. For Charlotte, unfortunately, we haven't had the run to see that. We've had 2 years where we have not had a single game where LaMelo Ball, Mark Williams, Terry Rozier, and Miles Bridges all played start to finish. hopefully that will happen in the not too distant future, and we'll get a look, hopefully an extended one, at just how good this Hornets team will be. But for now, we just have our best guess, which is these are very talented individual players who in theory fit together. But until you see it on the court, you don't want to be hasty and rush to a judgment, and you also don't want to sit there waiting for something that's never going to come together.
And you know what? Two-part question, because, you can kind of look at this, on the bright side and say, okay, all these players that usually wouldn't get this time, they're getting it now. And you get to really see, okay, can we use these guys longer in the future? And then when the other guys come back, tell me this. How good can this team be with LaMelo Ball? Because I really think he is something special out there on the floor.
I think he can be exceptional. I mean, his scoring numbers in the first month of the season were right up there with De'Aaron Fox, and we know how good of a scorer he is. His assist numbers were right up there, not quite as high, but in the same vicinity as Tyrese Halliburton. We know what kind of distributor he is. So he has the potential to be the best of both worlds. It's unfortunate that he hasn't been healthy for a sustained stretch, with the exception of his second season in the NBA, which is the last time the Hornets were above 500. So I think he has a chance to be this transcendent talent, someone that can take Charlotte where it really wants to be. But the first ability is availability, and he has not had it in the last 2 seasons, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's what we said all last year. For the Kings, their best ability was availability because they had the least injuries of any team in the league when they ran off the 48 wins, and now they've just kind of carried that chemistry over. Speaking of the injury report, can you tell us who is available tonight? Do you have an updated one? Because obviously there's a lot of players who are questionable.
Well, last we heard is that Terry Rozier should be good to go. He just wrapped up his pregame shooting. Looks pretty good out there dealing with an illness. We all live in this fantasy world of the NBA where we think it's a video game and guys don't get, sick. They just get occasionally hurt when the computer says so. But people get sick in real life. We had a little illness travel through the team bus. He should be good to go tonight. He's had such an exceptional season. He's another reason why there's a lot of hope and optimism in Charlotte. You got him on a really good contract. LaMelo is signed long-term. Miles Bridges, you have to make a decision on, and Brandon Miller, you just drafted. He looks like he can be exceptional. Oh, by the way, you got Mark Williams, who's shown a lot of promise in less than 50 games. So the pieces are there, but unfortunately, as the injury report indicates, they're not all playing together. Even with Terry coming back, there are 3 legitimate starters that are not playing for the Hornets tonight. Wow. And you can go to any team in the NBA. I don't care who it is, Sacramento, defending champion, Denver, Boston. If you take any 3 starters off that team, they are not going to be the favorite that night.
Let me ask you this. I want to ask you about the Kings killer, because it seems like every time this kid walks in this arena, his eyes lights up. That's P.J. Washington.
P.J. is a really, really strong player. I'm thrilled for him that he got his deal before this season. So he's kind of inked up long-term. And he's a really interesting piece here for the Hornets because he has been a good starter at times. He's a really, really good player off the bench. When his production is right, he can really lead that team. I think he's got the potential in the future to be a contender for 6th man of the year if the stars align correctly, because we know what kind of scorer he can be. Right. It's just building that consistency and also the defensive presence that he can bring as a small ball 5, really good off the ball shot blocker and rim protector in a small ball sense. There's a lot of things he does well. Hopefully we're in a game that's close enough that he has a chance to impact it. From our old ESPN days, I was, people would ask, who are you rooting for? I'd say I'm rooting for close. And so we want good games. We're rooting for close tonight here in Sacramento.
Close is always a good thing. A lot of Kings fans love P.J. Washington. And of course, we're looking at the trade deadline of looking at things we can acquire. Hornets are 7-24. Do you think the Hornets are going to be sellers at the trade deadline? Do you think this roster will be the same at the end of February as it is now? Any gut feel?
It's really hard to say, and because of the injuries, because you don't want to disband a team before you have a real opportunity to see what it is. And I think back to the Golden State Warriors with Steph Curry, who had all of these injury issues with his ankles in the first couple of years of his career. And I'm a Bay Area born and bred person. I remember hearing the chirping like, oh, his ankles are never going to be right. You got to get rid of him, move him for other pieces. And he is the centerpiece to the greatest generation of California basketball outside of the Showtime Lakers that we've ever seen. So, I mean, you don't want to make any rash or hasty decisions. I applaud the front office and the ownership for being patient with this and recognizing what's going on. Coach Steve Clifford says it a lot. It's not just that you're losing. You have to know why you're losing. If it's something to do with the roster, you address it. If it's something to do with how you're playing, you address it. If it's injuries, you try not to do something that's going to take you off the track you're already on, because sometimes tinkering with things could cause more problems. That said, 2 years in a row of all these injuries, I wouldn't blame anyone for making some kind of moves. But based off what we've seen, I just don't think we've seen enough to say definitively that this doesn't work. We just know it doesn't work when they don't play.
Right. Let me ask you this, though. As far as, the games you're losing, because, it's a difference in how you lose. Are they competitive, or is it just a bunch of blowout games?
For the most part, they are. I think there's a couple of teams, and this has not only been a rough stretch because the guys have been shorthanded, but it's been a rough stretch because we've been predominantly on the road and we predominantly played playoff teams. And so that accelerates things quite a bit. But this Hornets team has beaten Boston this year, been right there with Denver, led them, and we're tied with them at halftime in the two matchups we had with the defending champs. The Hornets come out and they can play, and you got a lot of young guys, but you got a lot of guys that are fighting for their job in the NBA. There's always something to compete for. So if you're a Miles Bridges, you're competing for your contract. If you're a PJ Washington, you want to expand your role. If you're a Brandon Miller, you want to stay as one of the top 3 shot takers and makers when the team is healthy. So there's always something to play for. They do come out and compete, and Steve Clifford is one of the very best in the business as a head coach. There is never going to be an excuse that they are not ready or we're not informed of what their assignments are, what the matchup is, because he is as detailed as anyone I've ever seen do it, and really just a brilliant mind. I feel for him because I just want to see him and what would happen if he got his team together. Because as you guys know, he's been in the league 10 years. He's never had the kind of talent base that I think this Hornets team could have. And this Hornets team hasn't been healthy for him yet. So I want to see it.
Yeah, Mike Brown had nothing but high praise for him in the pregame presser. They coached a year together, and they have deep respect. We'll finish this off with you this way, Sam. Obviously, there's been an ownership change with the Hornets as well. MJ, no longer the governor for the team. Has that affected things at all, and does that change the outlook, you think, short-term or long-term?
I think in terms of the day-to-day, not much has changed directly just yet. I think that the new majority owners, Rick Schnall and Gabe Plotkin, they're both previously minority owners, so they know a bit about the NBA, but they're letting things develop and evaluating as they go. And again, not making any rash decisions. I think inevitably they're going to put their fingerprints further onto the franchise. But I really like the patient approach that they've had. Some ownership changes, they don't come that way. Sometimes a new person comes in
instant, right?
And they say, hey, let's make these moves. And sometimes, they burn hot and burn off, and then it gets bad, or sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't at all. But I think these two guys really have the right outlook for it. They don't want to be good for a year. They want to be good for a decade, and they want to make this franchise and build on something that Michael Jordan did tremendously, and that was give back to the community. I think that the best way you can judge any ownership is how they grow the franchise, how they grow the fan base, and how they grow the community around them. There are so many more hospitals, so many more food banks, so many more everything positive because Michael Jordan was the owner of the Charlotte Hornets.
Real quick before you go, how much, everybody's in awe of Michael, okay? How much of a hands-on owner was Michael? Was he really there on the day-to-day, hands-on with the team?
I didn't have a ton of interaction with him, but I think for a lot of the important stuff, which is everything but me, there was a lot more. And to their credit, Rick Schnall and Gabe Plotkin, they have dove in headfirst just because they're not in there, trying to pull the strings and, and do things that might make headlines. Doesn't mean that they're not a presence. They're there constantly. They've got such a positive attitude. They've interacted with not just the players, but every member of the staff, down to the concessions workers. They are intense and involved with everybody. There's a real, I had a chance to get to know Scott McVay when he went over to the Rams. And if you've ever met him, if you meet him once, he'll remember your name for the rest of your life. That's the kind of presence that these two guys have. They're really engaged. They're not just shaking your hand because you're in front of them. Right. They want to get to know you and want to know how they can better the relationship, better the franchise together as a true partner. So I'm in awe of Michael Jordan and always will be. He is the greatest of all time. There's no question about it. But these two guys are going to do everything they can to compete with him where they can as the new majority owners and chairman of the franchise. And that's all I think you can ask for when you're looking at the people in charge.
Sam, great stuff as always. And I can tell them personally, you're definitely worth getting to know. So.
I appreciate it. I always love coming back to Sacramento and getting to see you guys. Yep. And hopefully we have, for the fans back in Charlotte, another great one after midnight Eastern for
that would be fantastic. All right, Sam Farber, the voice of the Hornets. We'll take the break. When we come back, we'll go around the league. We'll take a look at all the other games and notes going on in the association. This is game night right here, Sactown Sports 1140.
Kevin Herter plays here.
It's Herter. He's been hot. He fires. He's still hot. Kevin Herter from downtown has a 15-point first quarter.
Sactown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
With RT Painting, our name says it all. We are a reliable and trusted commercial and residential painting company serving the Sacramento area since 1998. Employee owned, our attention to detail is second to none. Put our decades of experience serving our community to use for you. Get a free quote today. Call us at 916-900-8112. That's 916-900-8112. Or go online to rtpainting.com. That's rtpainting.com. RT Painting, your trusted and reliable painting contractor of choice.
There's no better way to wrap up the year than in a new Ram 1500 from Knight Elk Grove Dodge. Wait, there is a way. Got a new 2023 Ram 1500 DT and take up to $18,000 off MSRP. That's better. During the wrap up the year sales event at Knight Elk Grove Dodge, take up to $18,000 off MSRP on 8 new 2023 Ram 1500 DTs in the Elk Grove Auto Mall and online at elkgrovecdjr.com. MSRP $60,225. Net price $42,192 after $9,000 dealer discount and $90.33 in rebates. Bid PN 621-250 expires 1/2/24.
So here's a fact. 85% of the population will suffer from foot pain in their lifetime. That's almost everyone. So you'd think there'd be plenty of healthy long-term remedies, but there just aren't, right? Hi, I'm Dan from the Good Feet store. You know, people come in all the time sharing the same frustrating story. Bought this, tried that, been there, done whatever, all different kinds of things, but all with a similar result. Nothing. A discouraging and endless cycle of disappointment. If this rings a bell, don't despair. There is hope. If you think you've tried everything, you probably haven't tried Good Feet arch supports from the Good Feet store. They're designed to relieve, even eliminate the pain commonly caused by certain foot conditions like plantar fasciitis, bunions, flat feet, and others. Plus, provide better balance and increased comfort. See what we can do for you with a free arch support fitting. Just stop in or schedule an appointment. With over 200 stores, there's likely one in your neck of the woods. Find yours at goodfeet.com.
Knee, foot, or back pain? Visit the Good Feet store in Sacramento, Roseville, and Vacaville.
For today's show and tell, I present my phone. It's made with glass and various metals I can't pronounce. It's powered by Xfinity Mobile, so my family saves big. Take a handout.
Colin, what are these?
I'm quizzing the class on the material.
Switch to Xfinity Mobile and save hundreds a year with the best price for 2 lines of unlimited. Just $30 a line a month. Visit XfinityMobile.com to learn more. Restrictions apply. Xfinity Unlimited Intro Service and Xfinity Internet required. Taxes and fees extra. Reduced speeds after 20 gigabytes of usage. Data thresholds may vary.
From the Power Business Technology Toshiba Studios.
Your home for Kings basketball for over 25 seasons.
No look, Bibby to Weber, down the lane, flying jam. There's your play of the night right there. It's inside to Sabonis, a two-hand rip, a brilliant pass from De'Aaron Fox.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sactown Sports.
With the high flyer Henry Turner. Our thanks to Sam Farber breaking things down for the Charlotte Hornets. And Henry, what's your thought on the Hornets? They're 7-24. They're 3-13 overall. It's been rough sledding. It doesn't feel like it's going to get better fast. Obviously, injuries have been a part of it. It'll be really interesting to see. That's why I asked about the new ownership group. You never know what their feeling is in terms of wanting to try and, quote, make a quick fix or if they're in it for the long haul. But, we talk about so many teams and what they might be doing in the next month or two. It'll be really interesting to see because the Hornets is another team that has some good individual pieces. And, there might be some interest there from some Western Conference teams.
The crazy thing about it, Scott, is that they have so many injuries to where, it's kind of hard to really evaluate okay, what type of moves you want to make because you haven't had a chance to see these guys together.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if the new group has the patience.
Right. I think this year they'll pretty much have patience because it's their first year.
Yeah.
And like I say, you don't want to make no hasty moves. You don't want to get rid of a player that you didn't take a good look at, but he was one of the guys that was projected to be one of your main guys. So I think they'll probably stay packed, but you never know because, if they're very inquisitive owners, and they're looking at what's going around the league, and they can feel like, okay, we can make a couple of moves to make this team better. Everybody's up for grabs at that particular point.
No question. Obviously, they're not thinking about the playoffs. They are thinking long term, and it'll just be interesting to see. And LaMelo Ball, no doubt about it, when healthy, he's one of the great dynamic players in the league.
Yeah, I like the way Melo plays. I mean, as much hype as Lonzo came into the league and, really under-delivered, Melo has been just what the doctor ordered. He has flash. He has flair. He has an outside game. He passes the ball. He pretty much has all 31 flavors out there on the floor.
Yeah. All right, let's go around the league as we take a look at the other notes and other games going on. For the Pistons, as we said, they stopped a 28-game losing skid. They tied the all-time record for most consecutive losses, but they did not break it with that epic win in Toronto, 129-127. But the first game out since, they got routed in Houston last night as the Rockets took care of business easily against Detroit. The final score in that contest was Houston 136, Detroit 113. So the Hornets now have the longest losing streak in this league at 11. Other notes from the past couple of days catching you up. Zach LaVine on track to return within the week, and he might be hurrying a little bit considering how well the Bulls have played without him.
Hey, I was about to say, is he coming back trying to up his value?
Yeah.
Or it's the Chicago Bulls trying to up their value for him because, like you said, they've been playing very good basketball without him. They've been winning, and, I don't know if he's disgruntled, but they haven't done what they thought they was going to do with him in the lineup.
No doubt. All right, the first game for the traded players between the Raptors and Knicks have happened, and both successful as OG Anunoby delivers a win for the Knicks at Madison Square Garden. They beat the Timberwolves, so a great start for Anunoby there. And for RJ Barrett, of course, who's from Toronto, along with Emmanuel Quickley, they get a win over the Cavs at home. So, maybe, again, it's one of these trades that will work out well for both sides.
I think Toronto got two very good players. RJ Barrett has been playing in Julius Randle's shadow, and then when they bring the little guy over, he took over. So RJ Barrett has always been a number 3. Manuel Quickley the exact same way. They're two young players that I think ceilings is very high, but when you come to a team to where you have guys in front of you, you really don't get the chance to show what you can really do.
Yeah, no question. And Anunoby's a defensive-minded player. Tom Thibodeau will love that. And for RJ Barrett, maybe just needed a little bit of change of scenery. And, the fact that he is from Canada and from Toronto, that can only help him.
Scott, it can only help when you get a chance to regroup. You get a chance to, refocus. You're back at home. You're from there. You're back at home. You're still playing basketball. You're on a team that really, needs some firepower. You're on a team that's starting to look to be rebuilding, and they traded for you, so you should be a big part of the rebuild process. So, I think it's a plus for him.
I do too. All right. Looking at the games going on tonight in the association, several games already in progress. The Sixers are about to beat those Bulls, 110-85 right now. Joel Embiid is back, and Embiid has put up a triple-double tonight. 31 points, 15 rebounds, 10 assists tonight for Embiid.
Embiid has been just cutting through the league. Nobody has been able to do nothing with him. He's doing exactly what Shaq and Charles Barkley has asked him to do, and that's to be the most dominant big man in the league. Now, that might not always equate to Philly winning, but I'll tell you what, his play on the floor has been Herculean.
It has been fantastic. It's been MVP caliber, no question.
No doubt. And I'm talking about high on the list.
No doubt. He's probably the favorite right now to repeat as MVP. Grizzlies rebounding after that 29-point blowout to the Kings, leading the Spurs 47-40. Jaws got 11 so far in that game. That's at halftime. Also at halftime, the Pelicans, who come here on Sunday, they are blowing out the Nets 59-34. Wow. That is blowout city at the half in New Orleans. Celtics and Thunder, good game at the half here. Celtics leading in OKC 61-58. Porzingis has 18. SGA has 17 in that game. And then later on tonight as well, Orlando is in Golden State. That should be a good game tonight. And, of course, the Kings get another break because Orlando will be here tomorrow night. So tonight they're playing a team on a back-to-back. Tomorrow they get another team on a back-to-back.
The Kings got to take care of business on their home floor, whether it's back-to-back or a couple of days in between. They need to keep the dominance rolling. This is what Coach Brown wants. This is one of their things that they have to check off their list. Dominance on this floor.
They do. And speaking of this homestand for Sacramento, it's a very favorable one. They're in this stretch right now, especially when they went on the road, and now with these games here where they're matching up against 7 of 8 opponents that have less than 500 records.
Right. I'm looking at 4 games. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at 3-1. You want to be dominant on your home floor.
Yeah, that would be a great way to go back out on the road. And then their next road game, well, they're in Detroit.
Right.
So it starts off good on the road for them. It gets a lot tougher as they have trips to Philadelphia and Milwaukee on that upcoming East Coast swing as well. All right, we've looked through the league. When we come back, we'll take a further look. Kings and Hornets tonight, first of 4 here inside Golden One Center. Game night is always brought to you by the Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Sacramento. If you have a heart of service, you want to do something good for the children in this area, maybe this could be a New Year's resolution for you in 2024. There's a lot of children. They're raised in single-parent households. They're looking for an outside mentor to help them in their lives. Maybe that could be you. Call Big Brothers and Big Sisters, 916-646-9300, or visit bbbs-sac.org to learn all about becoming a volunteer mentor. More of Game Night right here, Sactown Sports, 1140.
The Sacramento Kings play here.
He's got the triple. Sacramento takes the lead. Outstanding ball movement by Sacramento.
Every triple, every jam, every Kings win.
Sabonis with the jam over the Joker. He's got the three-point shot.
Get your Kings fix all season long.
Right here on your home of the Sacramento Kings.
Here's a steal by Fox, the breakaway. He's got the rip with the left hand.
Sactown Sports at SactownSports.com. You never know what you might hear when listening to a Sacramento Kings game.
Out of Keegan's going for another triple. Man, is he feeling it. Keegan, can he do it? Yes, there's number 11, Keegan Murray. Keegan steps back. He just knocked down his 12th three-pointer, a Kings franchise record. He's got 45 points.
Never miss a moment of Sacramento Kings basketball with Sactown Sports and the Sactown Sports app.
Golf to Go is brought to you by the Hagen Oaks Golf Super Shop. Here's Frank LaRosa.
Over the years, some of golf's best stories were about the legendary Ben Hogan. Tommy Bolt once said that Hogan was the only player he'd ever known to get an ovation on the practice tee. He said he saw Hogan playing practice rounds before a tournament where half the gallery was made up of other professionals. When Bolt was asked who was better, Jack Nicklaus or Ben Hogan, Bolt replied, "Well, I saw Nicklaus watch Hogan practice, but I never saw Hogan watch Nicklaus." That's a pretty definite answer. Hogan described the game of golf as a game of misses. He said, "The player who misses best is the one who's going to win." He believed that the first hole was the most important, saying, "Well, if you don't birdie the first hole, how can you expect to birdie them all?" Ben Hogan knew the value of positive thinking on the golf course. That's your Golf to Go. I'm Frank LaRosa.
Welcome back into Game Night right here, Sactown Sports, 1140. Scott Marshall on with the high flyer, Henry Turner. Kings and Hornets tonight, Sacramento 19-12. Henry, we know that it's just arbitrary. All that's changed between 2 nights ago and tonight is just a year change. So, but it's a good point to look back, reflect, kind of look ahead. Kings finished 2021 19-12, and we talked about the trend is good. There's been some bumps along the road, but I think if we were to look back and dissect the first half of this year in 2023, we would be pretty positive about what the Kings have done.
Oh, no doubt. You would. Right now, they're doing what Mike Brown wants them to do. They're they're playing very, very good at home. Like I said, home dominance is one of the big things that Mike Brown has been teaching. So they've done that. They want to play at least 500 ball on the road. They've been able to do that. They've had some clunkers, no doubt, but they haven't let it, snowball out of control. So at the end of the day, they still have some things to fix, but overall they're playing good basketball.
Yeah, they are. The trend is bright. And obviously, De'Aaron Fox, we know how great he is, but we've seen another dimension to his game step up big time, and that's his three-point shooting. He's gone from basically an under 30% three-point shooter in years past to averaging almost 40% from downtown right now.
You know what I like? That was a part of what D. Fox had worked on big time this summer, as definitely being able to be consistent with that three-point shot. And honestly, Scott, I think that was the only thing that was missing out of his game. He had made such strides in all the other facets of his game. The three-point shot was the last thing. And the ways he has added it now, he is looking real, real good. And it's one of those situations to where it's like, pick your poison, because he's shooting it not just from three, he's hitting them from the logo at some time.
No doubt. And everybody said that's the one weakness of De'Aaron Fox's game. You can allow him to shoot that outside shot. Now you can't. So he becomes virtually undefendable.
Right. He's one of those guys to where you can't stay in front of him one-on-one because he can get downhill with the best of them. Now it's like, okay, are you going to let me take this shot? I'll take it. If not, if you're going to play up on me, I'll just blow right past you.
Yeah, no doubt. You're right. It is pick your poison, and neither one of them is going to taste very good with De'Aaron Fox. The options just are not good either way. All right, let's look at the injury report for tonight's game. And for the Kings, for the third consecutive game, there is no injury report for them. Everybody's healthy and ready to go.
Nice.
And as we said, that was the theme of last year. The best ability was the availability of the Kings. They were the least injured team in the league. Obviously, it's a lot different for the Hornets tonight. You just heard us talk with Sam Farber not long ago. Terry Rozier is probable. We do feel like he will play. He did not play last night, fighting off an illness. Mark Williams most likely out with his back. LaMelo Ball is out with his ankle. Gordon Hayward with his calf. Frank Ntilikina, broken tibia, he's out also. So you can tell the Hornets injury list is definitely piled up.
Oh, yeah, it's long, and you're going to get a chance to see a lot of guys who are fighting for the NBA lives, a lot of guys that are trying to, make their mark. But, Scott, these are the type of games that can be also dangerous.
Absolutely. How many times did we talk about this last year?
Yes, because you have guys who, for number one, the Kings have the target on their back. They're the hunted now.
Yep.
They're not hunters anymore. So they be hunted every night. And then you got a team in here to where these guys have to come out and play hard because they're just on the cusp of not being in the league.
No doubt. If there's ever a definition of a trap game, this is it.
Oh,
right
yeah,
now.
no doubt.
The
exactly.
Kings are coming back from a 3-game road trip. Took them over a week. I don't know if you agree with this or not. Obviously, you played in the league. But how did you feel about you're on a relatively long trip? You came back. Does that first home game feel like an extended road game or not? Is that fact or fiction?
It's 50-50.
Okay.
It's 50-50. But when you're a team such as the Sacramento Kings, you're trying to make that next step. Mm-hmm. All right. You haven't solidified anything. It's not like they've made the playoffs the last 5 years.
Right.
So when you have those type of teams, they're like, yeah, it still feels like we're on the road or whatever. This team is still trying to search for something. So when every time they step on the floor, and especially in this building, it needs to be his own instinct.
It does indeed. All right. That injury report has always brought to you by the Arnold Law Firm, providing justice for you since 1975. If you're injured, call the Arnold Law Firm at 916-777-7777. As we mentioned, the Kings, no injuries tonight, but they will be starting Chris Duarte in the backcourt again. Mike Brown started him in Memphis, and he will continue that. And as we said, it'll be interesting to see, as Mike Brown put it, he's not married to anything long-term. So, there's nothing about permanency in this league. But if we know Mike Brown well, it's not going to be a 2 or 3 game stint. He likes to, when he makes a change, he's going to give it sufficient time to see how it plays out.
Well, he's looking for consistency, Scott. That's the thing that he's looking for in his starting lineup. For a little while, we thought we had consistency with those 5 players.
Yeah.
But, the Portland game showed us that, whoa, wait a minute. No, we don't. And if you don't get consistency in your starting 5, it's hard for you to win a game.
Definitely it's hard for you to win a game. And Duarte providing that defensive flair too. The ability to guard the point guard spot just gives it a little bit different look with De'Aaron Fox.
It does. Like I said, it gives you the leeway to, kind of like hide Fox, or better yet, let Fox take a lesser role on the defensive end, to where he could be fresh in that fourth quarter.
Yeah, no doubt. The Kings are currently 5th in the Western Conference. They're 19-12. They're a half game behind the Clippers, who are now 20-12. The Clips have won 8 of their last 10, 3 straight. Kawhi is back, and this team seems to be clicking on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, we talked about it. When you have four giants and those guys start playing well, they start understanding one another, they start liking to play with one another, you can do something special.
You can. All right, so Timberwolves atop the conference. You've got OKC at second, Nuggets third, Clippers in that top 4 spot. If you're looking at teams still trying to get into a play-in situation, the Warriors are currently 11th. They're 2 games under 500. The Grizzlies as well are 12 games under 500. We had this conversation, of course, playing Memphis last time out. Could they sneak back into a play-in scenario? They've got a ton of work to do. But I'm just curious right now, your evaluation of the Western Conference, and do you feel like we're going to see a lot of changes in terms of where the standings are right now?
It's actually what we thought it was, Scott. I mean, it's going to be a whirlwind. It's going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight. And we're talking about 1 all the way through 10 to 11. It's going to be real tight, man, because, all these teams are good. And it's all about, for one, health, if the team can stay healthy. And then for number 2, whichever team gets on the roll and start playing good basketball is going to be the team that, be able to step it up. And you got 12 good teams that could be anywhere through 1-12.
I agree with that. It's interesting that the Timberwolves and OKC are 1-2 right now. Obviously, Minnesota was a team that I certainly didn't have being this good right now. And OKC is a team where they haven't nearly hit their ceiling yet.
No.
And to play as well as they are right now, thinking that they could continue to get better and better throughout this year is kind of a scary thought.
Yes, it is. But, Scooter, we saw this coming last year. We saw this coming at the end of the year last year. We were like, whoa, OKC is going to be something special, because they were playing very good basketball at the end of last year before they pulled the plug.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's very true. And another team that a lot of people are going to be looking at, the Suns. Now, the Suns are fully healthy again. They've got their big 3 back. Bradley Beal's playing, and we'll see if that makes a difference for them. They're currently 3 games over 500. They've won 4 straight.
Right. We're going to see how long it takes for them to do the exact same thing that the Clippers are doing right now.
Yeah, and for the Mavericks, Kyrie came back last night. Did not go well for them. They got blown out with Luka and Kyrie back. Obviously, Luka has been playing at an MVP rate, especially in December without Kyrie. Now they come back together again, and it'll be interesting to see if 2024 they have better luck with the 2 of them together.
Well, you know what? They had started out playing very well together. It seemed like J. Kidd had figured it out, and he had both of those guys playing at a very high level. So we're going to see how well that goes for the next couple of games.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see how they get integrated again with their big 2 stars back. So lots of basketball left to play. Obviously for the Kings, this is game 32 of 82. So 50 games yet on the agenda. 2024 will prove to be a very interesting year. As we look at tonight, we say it's always a dangerous game, but obviously this is a game, if there's ever one, the Kings should take care of tonight.
Yes. On their home floor, Charlotte is very much undermanned. They don't have their star-studded guys. So the Kings should come out. If I had my way, Scott, and look in a crystal ball, they should come out early, take care of this team, get this team down, and let some of the other guys play, because we got another game tomorrow.
No doubt. Game night is always brought to you by National Garage Door. Call today for your basketball special, 916-638-4554. That'll do it for game night. High Flyer, is always great to work with you. Happy New Year, my friend, and have a great call tonight.
Yes, sir. Back at you, Scooter.
All right, coming up next, Kings Live pregame. Jason Ross will be here for that. The G-Man's in his spot. He's ready to go. He'll have the call tonight, 7 o'clock tip, Kings and Hornets game night. Again, brought to you by Power Business Technology. Experience for yourself the power of family, how it can help you with your office equipment needs. Call them at 844-POWER-BZ or go to powercopiers.com. Kings coming up next versus the Hornets. Keep it tuned all night long. Sactown Sports, 1140.
Malik Monk plays here.
Started left, goes right, steps back, launches the three. Nothing but net. Oh, that was just filthy. Oh, my, that was sweet.
Sactown Sports is your proud home of the Sacramento Kings.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, this is Henry Turner, aka the High Flyer. I've done a lot of amazing things on the basketball floor, but now it's your turn to be amazing. For more than 55 years, Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Sacramento has helped out the youth beat many odds. Too many littles, especially boys, are still waiting for volunteers, Big Brothers. Volunteers to spend at least 4 to 6 hours a month with local youth who needs guidance and support. So donate your time to Big Brothers and Big Sisters of the greater Sacramento area. Get involved. It's easy as a layup. Call 916-646-9300.
Beam Team, whether you're headed to Golden One Center or watching the Kings game with friends, follow the Go Safely game plan. Just like the Kings have a game plan on the court, you should have one when you're on the road.